How do you steal a redstone build? Well, that's the same question that thousands of commenters asked when I claimed that Mojang was stealing content for the Minecraft handbooks. Now, if you somehow don't know what the handbooks are, they're a bunch of guides, build tutorials, and annuals that have been releasing since 2013, covering topics from how to play the game, to enchanting, to redstone. Wait, who made the redstone? Well, that shouldn't be too hard to find out, right? CNB Minecraft wrote the redstone handbook. It says right there. And he made some traps for the combat handbook. It says right there. And he made a piston door in the 2014 Minecraft annual, because the book told me. Now, there are plenty of redstone books that came after. Were they also made by CNB? Well, let me give you a little bit of context. CNB Minecraft was Mumbo Jumbo before Mumbo Jumbo, a personality-driven redstone content creator who grew extremely quickly and was beloved by tens of thousands of fans. He's also been missing for 10 years. Radio silent on absolutely everything. So if he didn't make these redstone builds, who did? These books have been coming out for over a decade, and yet nobody really knows. So I bought all of them. There are 58 Minecraft handbooks as of writing this video, and 20 of them have redstone. We already mentioned the first ones, but let's take a closer look at them. The first batch of Minecraft books were published by Egmont UK in 2013 and 2014. These are the ones that people most likely know about. The 2014 annual was also part of this batch and actually came before any of these handbooks. All of these got a 2015 update with some extra chapters, and 3 of these have builds from CNB Minecraft. The annual just has a single piston door. The combat handbook has a handful of traps and TNT cannons. Now, the redstone handbook, well, here's where you need to pay a little bit of attention, because once you realize what a redstone book written by a redstoner looks like, the difference is night and day. It starts off by introducing components, then some small circuits, a few bigger builds, and the most memorable part, the community builds. Now, we won't be getting into the specifics of the redstone handbook, but I want to point out a few key takeaways. 1, there is a clear progression path, and the redstone is consistent. The builds go from simple to more complex, and it is consistent in how competent the wiring is. This one might be a bit harder to spot right now, but it will become very obvious when we get to the later books. Number 2, there's credits in both the acknowledgement page and the community build sections. Even in all the other OG handbooks, you can easily find out where the builds came from and who the special guests are. And finally, number 3, everything works, from both the original and updated books. From the TNT cannons to the 3x3 door, there are no glaringly obvious redstone errors, and all of the builds surprisingly work in the latest version. The next Minecraft book that features redstone is the 2017 Minecraft Annual, with a single TNT cannon that blows itself up. Yeah, if you thought the decline was gradual, no, it falls right off a cliff right away. So let's jump off this cliff together. Minecraft Medieval Fortress. Woo-wee! Yeah, this book is a doozy. Remember those 3 rules we talked about earlier? Consistency and progression, crediting, and everything working? This book breaks all 3 of those in spectacular fashion. Now, the progression in this one isn't really organized from easiest thing to build to hardest, and that seems like it's by design, given that this is a building book and not a redstone book, and has sections based off different parts of the castle rather than difficulty, so I'll give them a pass. But the redstone consistency is all over the place. For example, look at this trapdoor. Why is it wired so bigly?
Oh, but Crafty, it's simple for the book.
Okay, well, putting these redstone lines a block closer to the pistons is also simple, and it just makes it smaller. Or what about this arrow cannon? There's this pulse extender that basically turns this comparator clock on for a certain amount of time, spamming arrows on the slime blocks. But they could have made it this simpler pulse extender. And looking at all of the redstone from this book, there is one that stands out like a sore thumb. How did the same people that made this trapdoor design and this arrow cannon design make a whole portcullis gate? Well, that's the neat part. They didn't. If you go on YouTube and you look up Minecraft portcullis gate and add before 2017 and you scroll down just a little bit, you get a Mumbo video. The wiring for the bottom looks pretty similar and the top as well. And I don't see Mumbo's name anywhere on this page. Okay, maybe he's in the acknowledgements. Okay, written by Craig Jelly, illustrations, all right. There's nothing here. Well, surely at least the door works, right? No, it's locational. But this isn't the only fun error in this book. Have a look at page 65. Do you see it? Well, this says that the segment is 8 blocks long, but if you count, we're somehow missing a block. Which, okay, whatever, an honest mistake is just a typo, but it should be an easy one to spot if you actually tried following these exploded build diagrams, which in my opinion are really hard to follow. There's a pretty big difference in this book versus the original Redstone handbook. Instead of using in-game screenshots, they start using these isometric renders, which are prone to some really trippy optical illusions that make following these tutorials feel like deciphering hieroglyphics. And almost every single book onwards uses these renders, getting worse and worse somehow, which has driven me up the wall for months. This video is sponsored by Boot.dev. Boot.dev is the smartest way to learn how to code by making it fun. There are dozens of backend development courses in languages like Python, JavaScript, Go, TypeScript, C, so many freaking options, with each course having you code a lot and creating personal projects like a Pokédex, a web scraper, a maze solver. There's even a course that tells you how to find a programming job. And all these are constantly updated with new information. Lessons are built with an engaging XP and leveling system, just like a video game. And Boot.dev just released a cool new feature called the Training Grounds, a place where you can practice a bunch of coding challenges before going back to your coursework. Challenges take about 45 seconds to generate, but you can even customize it to focus on whatever skill you want to improve on just by typing in a prompt. So to check out all this really cool and amazing stuff, go to Boot.dev and try out the courses for free. Then use my code CraftyMasterman to get 25% off your entire first year if you choose the annual plan. So I hope you can see a bit of a criteria that I'm judging these books from, looking at the consistency of the redstone quality, and if something looks a little bit too good, I'll check if it's stolen and if there's credits. And also to be on the lookout for any typos, rendering errors, and broken builds. Okay, so what is our next book? Oh man. Now before I dog on this thing, I just want to say that the first 33 pages of the 2017 Guide to Redstone masterpiece. I think it introduces every component in the best ways possible. It talks about game ticks, signal strength, and even the first and only mention of quasi-connectivity by name. Certain components like repeaters, comparators, and observers get an entire 2-page spread explaining all of their mechanics. And okay, my praises are done. So the progression and consistency of this book is a bit odd to me. After it introduces the components, it gets into some simple circuits like redstone clocks, pulse circuits, and vertical transmission. Okay, I guess that's a circuit. Each of those small circuits then get used in a demo build. For redstone clocks, it makes this mob trap. What the hell is this? For the pulse circuits, it shows off some monostables, a pretty unique pulse extender, and a hopper counter. So maybe the demo build for these circuits is some sort of number display or minigame. It's a combo lock. Huh? And it works by having monostable circuits attached to buttons. Does Mojang know that buttons already make a pulse? Okay, whatever. Those 3 buttons are then linked to the same counter, which gives an output when activated 3 times. Now, I assume the intended behavior is to press the 3 buttons, and then it sends the 3 pulses to the counter opening the door, but you could also press 1 button 3 times, or press every button since there's no penalty for getting the code wrong. This build is just entirely nonsensical. It's just a weird shoehorn of all the circuits shown off just for the sake of having them all in one build. It just doesn't look like something a redstoner would make, if you know what I mean. Which makes the next build really obvious that it's stolen. The demo for the vertical transmission section of the book is this armor swapper by Mr. Crayfish. This build is meant to show vertical transmission in action, but it just uses a slab ladder. That's it. These pistons' main purpose isn't really just to be a vertical transmission. It uses QC to make a short pulse going into this piston with a slime block. Okay, so maybe the demo builds weren't that good, but now we're on to the big build, so surely they'll be better, right? This flying machine elevator, taken from Alona 20. This potion brewer, taken from K1 Inc. And unfortunately, it's broken in 1.16 due to dust changes, but this stolen design is particularly hilarious. In the original tutorial, K1 places slabs as the support blocks for these comparators for some reason. Now, if you know anything about redstone and maybe just looked at this build for 2 seconds, you'll realize, wait, why are these slabs? They don't need to be slabs. The 2017 book also has these slabs. So whoever added this build into the guide just blindly followed the tutorial, added the slabs, and didn't realize that they were completely unnecessary. It's like if I made a redstone tutorial and I told people that you need to use iron ore for one block, even though it doesn't do anything special, or if I told people that the video is paused because they have to subscribe and they fell for it. You should still subscribe anyway. Moving on, we got Minecraft Epic Bases, an inspirational building book that shows you various ways to make cool bases. On page 29, there's a drown farm. They didn't even try to hide this one. Minecraft Epic Inventions, very similar to Epic Bases, both in concept and in the stuff it's stolen. This double piston extender, from a Mumbo video. This elevator, also from a Mumbo video. This gravel trap, it's not stolen, but completely pointless since all the gravel would just fall onto the pressure plates and break. This Elytra firework launcher just shoots a firework that you can't pick up. There's also 2 lever locks in this build, but hey, the decoration is different, so that makes them 2 completely different lever locks. And now onto the final, as of right now, mainline redstone book. Now this thing, I have a lot of history with. In fact, this was probably the book that got me into collecting every single Minecraft handbook. I also have a one-of-a-kind version filled with 3 years worth of VidCon signatures of famous people, terrible people, and a rat chew. And you know I love the cover of this book and my signatures, and I hate the inside of this book. Out of all the mainline Redstone handbooks, the 2022 Guide to Redstone, updated and revised, okay, yeah, we'll get to that, is probably the worst out of the 3 of them. Component introductions feel really rushed and crammed. Like, this is how much page space the 2017 book gave to explain comparators. This one gives them like 2 sentences. They also show off all the crafting recipes of every component, except the pressure plate recipe is wrong, but only in the North American release, because it's fine in the UK release, and I don't know why. And this isn't even the first time that the North American copy of the book has errors. For example, back in the 2017 Redstone guide, this number of slime blocks changes from 3 to 4. Maybe British people think that Americans can't count, which, you know, I can't blame them, to be honest, but like, how does the text change besides like spelling of color or something? This new Redstone book also tries really hard to be like the original, even going back to using screenshots for some illustrations instead of isometric renders. They even have Jagarbov as a guest, which is written like a Q&A, and they forgot to add him to the acknowledgements page. Like the 2017 guide, this one follows the format of showing off a specific circuit and then a demo build using it. The first one is vertical wiring for this alarm system, then it shows off some logic gates with a shooting range as the demo build, and then we get some pulse circuits for this massive hidden wall staircase. And finally, we get some redstone clocks for this artillery tower. Compared to the 2017 book, I actually think that these mini demo builds are much better and feel way more relevant to the circuits that they're demonstrating. But this midsection of the book is about as good as it gets, and it only goes downhill when we look at the bigger builds. Each section starts out with a tutorial for the main build, followed by some alternate versions with no tutorial. The first one being this trap chest pitfall. Oh, nope, that is the wrong one. That's from the original. This trap chest pitfall trap. And the alternate versions are just as cursed. And next we have a lever lock, and the alternative version is just a worse lever lock. The third build is a lectern selector, which, hold on, let me look it up. It looks a little bit too competent. Yep. There it is. It's the same design made by BlueCool97. And hey, remember in the 2017 book where they blindly followed the tutorial for a potion brewer and made these blocks slabs when they didn't need to? Well, you see this long line connecting to this first torch of the selector? Yeah. It's really easy to fix. In fact, this exact change is mentioned in a pinned comment of the tutorial. But whoever made this book is so bad at following tutorials that they didn't even see that there was a pinned comment. And because they didn't follow the things that the creator said, they just ended up making a worse version of their lectern selector. And finally, the flying machine section. It starts off with a pretty cool Bedrock exclusive tunnel bore. That's stolen from JC Plays. And then right after, it shows you a static tunnel bore. What the heck is that? For some reason, Mojang thought that just removing all the slime blocks from the original tunnel bore would make it a static one without realizing that they just made something that looks like if ChatGPT tried to make a tunnel bore. And speaking of ChatGPT Redstone, this is the flying machine. Do I even need to say anything else? You know, for a Redstone book that has the word revised in the title, it sure seems like they didn't do any revising at all. Even from the tutorials they followed, they didn't even follow them correctly. And despite all of my complaints about this book, there is still, somehow, one more book that tops this. Now this is basically going to be the same thing again, right? Stolen build here, broken build there, funny typos everywhere. And while yes, I'm still going to be pointing all of that out, I was actually able to reach out to the illustrator of this book and get some extra insight on how these things get made. So with all that, this is Minecraft Escape Rooms, the third entry into this big build format. Now remember, this is primarily a building book and not a Redstone handbook, so there is a slightly different approach to how the illustrations are designed. We were given a brief outlining of what kinds of Redstone things would look cool for each specific build, but given lots of freedom to just sort of come up with the stuff that fit the theme. Also, yep, tutorials helped a lot. Can't remember specific ones, sorry, but we did also just experiment and see what worked. It wasn't meant to be a one-to-one tutorial, but just provide examples of what is possible. Now these messages give us a lot of information going into this book. Number one, we got an admission that tutorials are definitely used from other Redstone creators. Number two, some Redstone is from tutorials, but some are made on the spot. George even sent me a screenshot from one of the worlds he used to make the builds. And finally, three, there is a lot of creative freedom, which might explain why the wiring consistency might be off not only in this book, but in previous Minecraft books. And these 3 points might explain some problems with the books, but not all of them. Like build number one. This is supposed to be a keycard system, but in both the illustration and the text description mention the filter hopper pointing down, which would empty out all the filter items and just completely break it. On page 30, the comparators on this pulse extender are somehow facing the wrong way, and I don't even know how this triple piston extender on the bottom is being powered. It's also stolen from RatPat. Page 36 mentions a button. There is no button. Page 41, there's extra torches on these redstone clocks that go absolutely nowhere. Page 46 is all redstone stuff. Oh man. We've got something that looks like a skeleton sand door, statues that I think hold husks, and then there's levers near the statues that open up the piston doors and let them out. Now this is what George meant by this book being more of an inspiration than a tutorial. Page 49, the 3x3 trapdoor is this 3x3 trapdoor by Sam Plays. Page 53, they call the dropper a dispenser. Page 77, hey wait, that's my planet that I made a YouTube short on. Page 79, a broken 3x3 by Jeffrey Zoo that George confirmed he likely followed this mumbo tutorial for. And despite following a tutorial, there's still a bunch of random components missing, and throughout this entire book, every T flip-flop they use is this dropper hopper one, despite copper bulbs existing and even being mentioned as a building block. Like, this block has one job. This block has one job, Mojang! It's just honestly really disappointing. For official Mojang products, a lot of these Redstone books feel rushed, riddled with mistakes, and filled with uncredited work. Now, I already know what everyone is going to be commenting.
Crafty, what's the big deal? Crafty, Mojang is allowed to take Crafty. Mojang owns everything you make.
And while it's so easy to dismiss everything I just said with a single comment, a lot of these comments are a bit misplaced. For one, as of writing this, no, Mojang does not own your creations. You do. You give them a royalty-free license to use it, but that doesn't mean that they own the copyright to it. And number two, Mojang has credited and continues to credit in modern books. They are just extremely inconsistent at it. For example, the Minecraft annuals and some of the guidebooks mention other builders at times, but the 2022 guidebook series don't even have their guest authors in the acknowledgements page. But why they didn't do it for any of the Redstone builds across 18 books seems to be more of a miscommunication between the authors and the illustrators not knowing their sources. Now this would make sense for things like the building books that feature Redstone, since it seems like there was way more freedom for the illustrators to do what they want. But it still doesn't really answer how the actual mainline Redstone books have all of these problems. The best thing I could guess is that Mojang wanted to do absolutely everything in-house with Farshore and no outside review from anyone in the Redstone community. The same community that Mojang would steal from and not give a single mention to. No names, no credits on the acknowledgements page, not even a thank you to the Redstone community line. And as much as people have rose-tinted nostalgic takes on, oh, old Minecraft, this was so much better, blah blah blah, after looking at every Minecraft book that has Redstone, yeah, the original series was better. All four of these have credits to community builds, guest authors giving insight in their specific topic, and have honestly aged the best. They were books made by Minecrafters for Minecrafters. And don't just take my word for it, ask the authors.
At this point, I knew about Minecraft, but I'd never actually played it. So I went home, bought the game, Like a lot of people, I didn't really know what I was doing when I first started. So after a while, I realised that I could punch trees to get wood, then I could turn that wood into tools to help me get stone, iron ore, coal ore, etc. And I remember having that sort of moment that a lot of people have with this game where you suddenly see the bigger picture. So we decided that I would write the beginner's handbook because I was a beginner. I was in a very good position to do that. But we really needed experts to help us with the more complicated books, so the Redstone handbook and the construction handbooks, which is where people like CNB Minecraft and Fire UK came in. They filled an enormous knowledge and skills gap.
Hey everyone, this is Matt, and a long time ago I was one of the people running Fire UK. We were a large creative-based YouTube channel focused on Minecraft. We were making time-lapse videos. When the official Minecraft handbooks, the original batch, were being made, we were put in contact with Egmont, who were the publishers, to get involved in some way. And then obviously when it came to the construction handbook, they were like, okay, can you guys really build this thing out? And we fleshed it out with a bunch of stuff, from smaller tutorials of like building a house and things like that, to then more showcase pages where you see some of our builds from Fire UK, but then also some wider community builds. We wanted to showcase really cool things we had seen built, not just by ourselves. I think honestly there are some fantastic things and some fantastic people working in the fandom of Minecraft that deserve their moment in the spotlight.
The same community that Mojang has been using for all of these books is the same community teaching hundreds of thousands of people how to make computers, speaking in university lectures, and inspiring the next generation of Minecraft players. If there's one Minecraft community that knows how to educate people and engage with them in a way that is unmatched, it's the Redstone community. We've seen time and time again Redstoners being used by other creators, fake Redstoners, and no one realized that for 10 years it went all the way to the top, to Mojang. All of these people that you stole from are literally just a DM away. But since I know that you're not going to thank them personally for their contributions, I will. So to Mumbo, Mr. Crayfish, Alonafer20, K1 Inc., Waddles, BlueCool97, JC Plays, Ratpat, Sam Plays MC, Jeffrey Zoo, and the entire Redstone community, thank you for everything you've done. And maybe one day, Mojang will thank you too.